Hello, YouTube, and welcome to my interview with Myles Power. Thank you for joining me. Now, for those who aren't as familiar with your YouTube channel, can you tell us a bit about what your videos are about?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, for my throat. My videos are really heavily science related. It came from about 8 months ago, where I watched a video by a chap who was saying that the MMR caused kids to be autistic and have ADHD, and I thought I couldn't just let that go out there. I had to have a rebuttal of it. So I got into YouTube and I made a video, and then I really became addicted to the whole YouTube thing, and then started incorporating experiments into these little talks I was doing. I was like overdosing on homeopathic medicine, and I was doing experiments with heavy water. And two people from work said that actually these are actually quite fun to watch. So why don't you concentrate more on doing, I guess, some kind of home science to kind of prove the point that basically what some people out there are saying is absolute bollocks, and that really science and is really awesome. So that's kind of what I do.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you took a bit of a break from YouTube to write a thesis. Is that correct?
Yep, I'm in the middle of doing it now. I've got about 7 more weeks left before I have to hand in, and yeah, it's getting quite stressful. I've had to really stop everything in my life and just I've been writing solidly. In fact, after this, I'm going to spend another 2 hours on it before I go to bed.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, what's the general subject of the thesis?
Basically, I make fake DNA. It can really be split into 2 parts. There's the non-enzymatic part, which basically is my fake DNA using a template, can self-replicate. And the benefit of this, an application of this is that you can sequence a genome or a part of it, or a gene by synthesis. The idea is that for every one of my monomers, it still has the same base, so it'll still have G, C, T, and A, but they'll have a fluorophore on, depending on what base it is. And the idea is when they get an extension on, it goes on, it'll fluoresce a certain color, and then you keep protecting for another one, and it'll keep going, and it's seen as a cheaper way of Sanger sequencing. And another use for that is for a procedure called antisense or antigene, which basically my fake DNA will bind to real DNA or RNA, say in a bacteria or a virus, and then that gene that they have won't be able to be translated and transcribed. So it will essentially knock out the gene. And if you imagine you put the 2 technologies together, you can sequence, then you can synthesize it, and then you can give it, and it will antisense. It's kind of like an all-in-one kind of drug therapy thing. The second one was a bit of a fluke, because it turns out one of my smaller molecules that I was making on the way with this non-enzymatic stuff actually activates a genetic switch that some bacteria have called the riboswitch switch. And what we've done is we found if we mutate this riboswitch switch, and I change my analogs that I was synthesizing ever so slightly, we can make it specific for my compound. So then we have a way of turning on this gene that will precede this riboswitch switch. So I really want to talk about some of in detail, but unfortunately, because we've got nothing published, if my boss ever sees this, he'll hit me. So I can't go into much more detail, unfortunately.
Oh, that's okay. So that's biochemistry, or would that be considered molecular biology?
I'm actually more of an organic chemist, even though I do spend time with working with cells and stuff. I'm a pure chemist, so I spend most of my time synthesizing these molecules, and the non-enzymatic stuff is pure chemistry. Everything's synthetic, and we buy most of it.
So what brought you into that field of organic chemistry? Because there's lots of sub-disciplines within science.
Well, I've always loved science. I've always loved chemistry, actually, specifically in school. And then when I went to university, you get to choose, really, if you do straight chemistry, between the 3 major ones, which is organic, inorganic, and physical. I couldn't stand physical, but I had a passion for kind of making things. I liked working with my hands, so it was a choice between the 2, and I really quite like the applications of organic chemistry better, because everything in organic tends to be pretty colours and colours, and so I didn't really fancy it. I really wanted to, synthesize stuff. And then in my 4th year, I worked for a guy called Jason Micklefield, who is more of the biochemistry kind of side of things, and that's when I really got into the kind of biological aspects of chemistry, kind of like making things that have a purpose. And then I followed that on my PhD, and that's where I am right now.
Now, switching sort of back to your YouTube, can you give us a sort of hint of any videos you have planned for the future?
I can actually, because I haven't got much time in Manchester, I haven't really got the resources when I go home. Unfortunately, I haven't sorted myself out a job yet. Myself and Laura have still been recording videos for YouTube. We just haven't been editing them because they only take about half an hour to do. So there's some fun with liquid nitrogen that I managed to get my hands on. We've been growing up some disgusting bacteria that we collected from the streets of Manchester. We're going to get dressed up in one of them to explain a point. What was it? A load of stuff with DNA. And we've got some more in the pipeline. I mean, whilst myself and Laura are still in Manchester, we really want to shoot as much as we can and then worry about the editing and what we're missing later on. So we've got a few things. I don't give too much away, but there's definitely going to be a few things when I come back.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Now, one final question. What isn't science about?
What isn't science about? It's not about. I think it's quite an expansive question. Science. It sounds not what I can tell you what science is about. Science is about finding out how things tick, how things get together. It's not saying, oh well, we've got something that might work. It's just magic. I mean, the perfect example of this is homeopathy. I hate homeopathy with a passion, and I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. It's not hocus pocus. It's science is a physical thing, and I don't really know. I'm just starting to mumble. I'm not sure how to answer that. Yeah, sorry.
Well, that was a decent answer, but I was setting you up for a Portal 2 reference.
Oh, science. Oh, I love Portal. Have you completed it yet? Brilliant.
I've watched a playthrough.
What wasn't science about?
Science isn't about why, it's about why
not. Why not? Sorry, Cave Johnson. What am I thinking? Sorry, I love Cave Johnson as well.
That's okay.
Did you get my Exploding Lemons
yes,
reference?
I did see that. I'll link an annotation to the video with the exploding lemon.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the interview.
Oh no, thank you again for listening to me ramble on for 10 minutes.